And we're back. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Had a little food, messed with a mink, yep. And we're back once again. Here to chat it up with the eyes, share my knowledge, talk with you, answer questions, anything you want. I'm here to answer them. So, if you have questions about fishing, hunting, trapping, life, comment below, and we will move that over. I'll interact with you. So say hi. I'm don't be shy. Here to help you. Here to help you with advice. Anything you have questions for, anything. Let me share this out there real quick. There we go. And it should be shared out there. Ooh, my back hurts. Oh. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. I'm here to chit chat, hang out, and be a friend for a little bit. What do you want to talk about? Trapping, fishing, anything you want. I'm here. But yeah. What was I thinking? Oh, so I was going to talk about fixing bridger body grip traps. How do you fix a sloppy trigger that sways back and forth? If it's this way, how do you fix it from swaying back and forth and missing, potentially letting otters go shoot through your trap before it fires, or hitting it with your tail and getting them through and then missing them? The simple answer is if you have a 160 size bridger, take a 160 size, take the trigger off, just the trigger, and add a 160 Belial trigger. It will take all the slop out because the diameter of the jaws is the same, but it'll also add a trigger where it fires back and forth and straight side to side and back and forth. So it's a four-way trigger. It enhances the trap stability, and it makes it from a two-way trigger to a four-way trigger, and it enhances it. So to get bridger body grips, cut the trigger off, a drill trigger out, buy a Belial trigger, it takes the slop out, and it makes it a four-way trigger. So it improves the trap and makes it a better trap. Hello to the viewer that's out there. Yeah, that's how you fix a bridger body grip. Not much, Corey. How are you? Yeah, so out there fishing. The wind calmed down here a bit, but it's still kind of windy. The phone call was about turning the mink hand. It was inside out, turning it back out, and it dried too much, so I couldn't do it. But so I got to stay the way it is. Ooh, trail camera picture just came in. Don't know what that is yet. We'll see later. Could be a check-in photo. Or it could be blank. Yeah, so the jetty fish is going to start heating up here soon. Which is good. Yeah, trapping's been alright. I mean, still kind of looking for trapping caster, but I might just make it with my caster. I don't think it would make that big of a deal if I use the same caster in the same area. Though it's not ideal. I don't think it's going to make a difference because it's female and male casters. So it shouldn't make too much of a difference. I just got to get a blender and food processor and grind it up and make it. So that's the next goal. So one thing at a time here, you know. I was using Tactacam. Trail cams now I'm using Brownie and Spartan. I don't like the Tactacam. How I put a Tactacam up and walk back and forth in front of it. What gets me the first time I walk past, and like the 8 other times, 9 other times I walk back and forth, they won't take the picture. Then finally, like, you'll walk away and there'll be nothing. Like, you went by once on the camera, but you went by like 8 or 9 times and walked away and it never took another picture. I don't like that fact about Tactacam. That's something I don't like about them. So I'm going to Browning and Spartan. If I had the money, I'd go all Spartan Go Live, which they're $400, which I would only do on private property. So I can just click the live button and look at the live picture of what I'm looking at on the camera, but they're expensive. I don't want to do that too much. Yeah, so I'm going with the Browning Defender line for now because I want to be able to use it. Their cellular app. So it's the plan so far. That's what I'm using for trail cameras with Browning, because like I said, the Tacticam, we walked in front of it and it hit us the first time, took the picture. You walk in front of it 8, 10, 12 more times and it won't take the picture. It would miss you every time. Then all you know is like there's one picture. But since you walk back and forth, you would know that you walked across it. So how many animals are you really missing with that when it only takes the first picture? It's not set to video and picture mode, it's just set to picture mode, but it only takes one picture and then it doesn't take any more. Or it take 1, 2, 3 and that's it. But it takes it within like a 3-minute mark. So like 1 minute takes it, 3 minutes go by, it takes another, and 3 minutes go by, it takes another. But and then it stops taking pictures altogether, and that's not good until until something else shows up, like an hour, 5, 10 minutes later. Then it'll take another picture, which I don't like. Oops. Come on, phone. Heard good stuff about Browning trail cameras. Yeah, Browning fast. So what I was going after is it would take the picture and recover and take another picture. So it's fast on the recovery time. Because I felt like the Tacticams would take a picture and they wouldn't recover. They'd take a long time to recover and then take another picture. And I think I didn't like that about it. I hated it. In fact, I know we missed stuff. Because like I said, my dad would walk in front of it, checking traps. They would take a picture, then we'll go back and forth and wait for the pictures over by the trail. Wait, and we would have good reception, and it wouldn't come. We just walked past it 8 times. Slowly, I'd put my hand in front of it like this, right in front of the lens. It wouldn't go off. I'd go out front and go like this, walk back and forth, it wouldn't go off. And it would miss all the pictures, and I didn't like that. It really irritated me. So I ditched them. Even though I have 8 of them, I'm not using them anymore. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? I'm indifferent, but I asked that on my Facebook page. I have 24,000 people on there now, and they asked, everyone was saying the Eagles, but I don't know, I'm indifferent. So I'm just going to say the Eagles, but I'm not necessarily an Eagles fan. Hey, Coon Hunter, how are you? Yeah, this is the Tacticam. I've messaged them back and forth. Like, they said, oh, well, it needs to be lowered to take pictures of skunks. Well, we tried to take pictures. We wanted a picture of the bobcat, right? We got a picture of the skunk going there, walking around, and finally, like 4 hours later, we finally went up there, let him out. They took a picture of us letting out. Never got a picture of the skunk leaving, right? Never got a picture of it leaving, so we didn't know it left, so we had to go back and check, right? Before we put the cage back on there. So, and they said, well, it needs to be lower to pick up the skunk. And that's not true, because the first picture picked up the skunk. Second picture picked up the skunk. Third picture picked up the skunk. But it didn't pick it up leaving. That's the fault of the camera. That's not a fault of where the location is. Because what didn't move the camera. It obviously picked him up 3 times. How come when the cage was open and we left for a little bit, how come we didn't see him walk out? They take a picture as he's walking out. Never did. That's the fault of the camera. That's not a fault of the... They tried to tell me you need to lower it. We lowered it a couple times. It still wouldn't do anything. Lowered it so it would take pictures of the possum. We had the same problem with the possum. Never caught the picture of the possum leaving the trap, the cage. Never got a picture of the skunk leaving the cage. And quite frankly, I'm done with those cameras because I can't... When I take the door off and I want to make sure they go out so I can come back and reset it, and they don't, and it doesn't... So it doesn't... I'll get to that in a second, Hunter. But it doesn't take the picture of him leaving. That's a problem for me because now I got to sit there and wait for him to leave, right? Even no matter if I wait a couple hours to go do some other stuff and come back, I don't know if he left. So I could be walking up on a primed skunk ready to spray me. And I don't want to deal with that, so I got different cameras. What's your totals on this season? Well, for the last 3 seasons, I'll give you a short answer. 3 beaver, like 9 or 10 opossum, which we all let go in the cages. 1 skunk. Had a couple raccoons close to cages, didn't get caught. So 3 beaver. Couple, no nutria, because we didn't set really nutria and muskrat traps. But 3 muskrat in beaver sets. So we tried to avoid the muskrat and beaver this season, or muskrat and nutria this season. But we caught 3 otters so far. 2 down here, closer than 1 out at the golf course. So that's 3 otter so far, which is pretty good. 2 otter at the golf course, 1 down here actually. 1 was alive, went through the 280, and it was sitting there hissing at us alive. Had to deal with him. So that was not fun. Walk up on him and he's going, teeth all snarling. And yeah, they're mean, man. Otters are mean. People think they're all these cute little animals, man. They're mean. But like one of my friends said, I think may have been Corey. One of them said, "Well, you're a predator to them. You're the trapper. You're their predator, so they're gonna be mad, right?" So said that on Facebook, which is true. I'm just trying to keep tradition alive. The tradition of trapping and the ways of the mountain man are dying, and I want to keep them alive and keep the history alive because I think it's important to trap and manage predators, manage damage control stuff. Because like I said, over there, 3 years ago we caught 40-something animals out of. Last year we caught 50 out of it, and now we just caught 7 or 8. So it's not that bad. Got that right. That's right, Corey. So yeah. So I think we're still gonna trap them next year because the farmer says I want them gone. I want them gone. The problem is there's a feeder creek where they swim up and go up into the property, so they just keep coming. So we just got to keep trapping it. They're not gonna stop. He tried planting some apple trees the first year when we weren't trapped. They cut them all down, every single one gone. So that's when the war started on them. We have one trap at the base. We have a trap midway up. We have 3 or 4 traps up high, blocking a couple exits. So yeah, he has to go up this creek, and if he goes off anywhere, he's done. So it's really just trying to get rid of him. Now, with trapping, you can't say, okay, let's say I'm going to take a guess. There's 3 in there, usually 3 to 4 in a family, right? A male, female, and a couple kits. You can say, well, I'm going to take out the 3 or 4 of them. 3, leave the 4th one in, right? If there's 5 in there, you take 4 out. Leave that one in there. The other one will come up there, breed. A season or 2 later, you'll get more, right? You want to leave a seed, they call it, to reproduce for the future, right? So you don't have to wipe everything out. People think trapping, you kill everything. That's not necessarily true. Steelers fan, but go Eagles, no doubt. Yeah? You know, I have a lot of friends that are Eagles fans. Go Eagles, you know? If you want a team to win, hopefully they win. That's basically what I'm saying. There's one thing about river otters. Wait when they feel... Come on. Things disappearing on me. When they feel like they are cornered, they will stand their ground. Yeah, and that is true. Oh, yeah, yeah. He was not happy, and man, was he pissed. He was mad. Very mad. Like, yeah. We've interacted with a few live caught animals, and not fun. But the job has to be done. It's not always a pretty job either, but it has to happen, you know. So sometimes that happens. Bought a Muddy cell cam. This no complaints, $15 a month, and I was impressed for a cell cam. Yeah, Muddy's a good brand. We have one Muddy, and we use it here and there. Doesn't go out as much as it used to. Works fine. A cell camera is a cell camera, right? But see, I don't want to be considered a perfectionist, but I try to find the best. So when I knowingly walk back and forth, it takes a picture and I knowingly walk back and forth, and it's not, if it misses like 1 or 2 back and forth, that's fine. But if it misses like every single one back and forth like 8 or 9 times, I got a problem with that because you don't know the activity the animal's doing. And when you're trying to study the animal, you don't know what he's doing. So I like the Browning because I can do anywhere from 5-second videos up to 2 whole minute videos. So if I'm on a beaver set, and I want to watch what that animal does and figure out what he does, I can watch the whole video and I can study how he came up with the set, the way he came up, the way the smell's going, if you're swimming out and then turned in, what he's doing, and if it comes up the trap and smells it, if I need to wear gloves, all those other details that you can start picking up on, and it's a huge advantage studying stuff like that. I know in Louisiana, Jeff Dunlap, Jeff Haggerty, Sarah Gomez, all those guys and girls found out if they take the mud and rub it on the top jaw when they set the trap, the conibear, all right, they have a better catch ratio because I think personally they didn't say this, but say the animals don't mind as much. I think, in my opinion, from watching them, is that it covers up the human scent, and when they go up and smell the human scent, it gets rid of that when they put the mud across it. It's like we watch Predator when they're hunting Arnold, right? And then Arnold goes to cover himself in mud. They can't, the heat vision or whatever disappears because he's covered in cold mud. That's similar. Like their nose can't smell it anymore because the scent's covered up. It's just a natural smell. Kind of does the same thing in my opinion. Good deal, man. Yeah, enjoy the camera. It's a good deal for sure. I like the Tacticam's deals. You can buy the camera, activate it for $5, and get 50 videos for $5 or 50 HD photos for $5. But the fact that it misses stuff, I can't deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. So I think that is a problem when it misses stuff. Yeah, I caught first auto live auto this year. 2 days ago, sucker was trying to rip me a new one. Yeah, for sure. Did you catch it in a conibear or a like hold? If you catch it in a conibear, I like adding 6 feet of cable or chain because that allows me to work with them instead of being stuck within like 12 inches of chain to the ground. Because then you're bent over, you're working with them, or you're trying to work them in a short little distance, right? I had a chain because when I try to reset a trap, I don't want to be hunched over so much that I'm hurting my back. The little chain, I want where I can pull it up the bank, set it, stick it down in the bank, right, and work with it. Longer stuff adds a little bit of work. You can grab the chain, pull them close, get rid of them. Light golds, you're a little different. But yeah, live animals are not fun, especially when they're ticked off. Although at the same time, I could say with dog proofs, right? They catch the raccoons and Iowa Trapper and those guys, they catch the raccoon. When they show up, the raccoon's just sleeping there. Asleep. Right? Doesn't care. And when you walk up to him, he's still asleep. And then he slowly wakes up, looks at you, and just kind of does his own thing. Till, it gets taken out. I will tell you this. The 280 Belial, which has zero gap in it, was caught around the otter's belly. And one around the belly, one around the tail. He was asleep. He was just laying there on the bank sleeping. Asleep. Until I walked up and woke him up. I saw his eyes were shut. He was just laying there like this. Then I woke him up and he looked around for a second. Then started hissing. Because he realized I'm there, right? Because I think I went, hey. To make sure, I don't know if his dad or just watched this. So I went, hey. He woke up, looked around for a second, and started hissing. Right? Because he wasn't sure what was going on. He got his bearings, started hissing. So I had 280 Belial, which is powerful. The 330 Belial, that otter we just caught, the 51-pounder, it broke its neck. It was just going like this, his neck, right? It's powerful. So a little smaller, faster trap, 280, hit him, and he was asleep on the bank, like he was never caught. He was just laying there, sleeping, and I woke him up. So people saying they're cruel. Yeah, they may be cruel, but does it affect the animal as much as we think? I don't think so, depending on the situation. We're insanely overpopulated in Ohio, but you can only catch 3. See, that's interesting. You guys catch 3. Can't catch 3. In Oregon, you can get 15. Spend another 30 or whatever bucks. Get another 15. Spend another 30 bucks. Get another 15. Spend another 30 bucks. Get another 15. You have 15 per purchase, but you have unlimited, right? Purchases. With Bobcat, same thing here on the west side. East side, you get, I think, 3 or 4, and that's it. You don't get to buy more tags. So, we have a lot of otter here, right? We have a lot of rivers and stuff. But catching 3 or 4, that's all we caught. 3 is the most we caught in a long time. So I don't think we have as much population as it is. They just want to get rid of some of them because it's taking up fish and causing problems. So we may have population. I don't see them very often. I've seen one driving over the coast. He was in the creek. But catching them, we catch a few here. So, but the thing is, to catch the otter, if there's a creek, right? There's a pond up here. The otter coming this way. As soon as you put fish in this pond, the smell goes downstream, they start coming up. Every year they start coming up. But if there's no fish in there, they will stop coming up that creek. They literally smell those fish, and they come a long ways to go eat them. So, one spot over here, we put fish in the pond. All of a sudden, they started coming up that. We didn't put fish in there. The year before we put fish, we didn't catch. We caught one just wandering. But last year we caught 2. One mid-season, one in last day of the season. So they smell those fish that go right up there. At the golf course where we caught the 2 otter this year, there's fish in the ponds. They went up there, got caught. Went up there again, got caught. So they smell that stuff. They smell it in the water. Think of sharks, right? Sharks can smell per particle per billion. So if the fish are in there, they can probably smell it. Maybe not that much, but they smell it. They know the fish are there. They're coming for them. They're going to eat them. I think it's under. Don't think fishermen realize how much fish they kill. I think they don't. I think they look at sea lions, the cormorants, but they don't ever look at the otter. The otter are a problem, in my opinion. Well, the population of Louisiana compared to everyone is not even comparable. Yeah. In Oregon, that's where I am. It's crazy. Louisiana, like Jeff and Sarah and all them are trapping. That's nuts, man. There's a lot of animals down there. But you think about the fact that it's all swamp. It's all water, marshy. If it's not swamp, it's maybe this there'd be this much water, and then there's like grass tops, so it's laying this slush. So they were moving all over throughout there. Jake trap 10 feet cable. Is that what you caught the otter on? Jake traps are really good. So you got the idea with the cable and stuff. It's nice, man. I've tried with leg holds for otter. Haven't really done it. Most of my otter, you see some sign or no sign. You see a little rut coming up or a deep hole. You're gonna put the trap in there. A conibear. That's it, right? They go in there. I think the most proud moment I had catching an otter was there's this huge river. It's called the Nehalem River, right? It's huge. We're up in the mountains. We saw some otter tracks up on the bank, so we just found this little slot where the bank kind of went in and then out and then in and then up the bank. It's a little spot that looked like an indent. There's a bunch of them along. We just put one in that spot at 220. Went home. 2 days later, we came back. There's a dead otter there. So that was like really no definitive spot where they're coming out. There's no scat, no nothing, just tracks, right? This is a huge sandy bank. So we just decided to put one here, made a guess, and he made a decision and went right in, done. And that was probably the most proud otter I've caught because it wasn't like I was blocking the whole channel off. He had to decide to go through there in that section and get caught. He could have went 4 inches to the right and went around it. 5 inches to the left, went around it. But he went up that spot and got caught. That was probably the best one. Biggest conibear in Ohio you can use on, hold on, is 5x5, I think it said. Biggest conibear you can use in Ohio is 5x5 dry land. So there's a good video. Are you talking coon or otter? So there's a good 5x5 video for coon, right? But if you can use a 5x5 trap, if you want more power in that trap, you could get order some Belial springs, right? Let's say it's 150, right? That's the size. You can get 160 size springs or 220 size springs. You want a lot of power, get the 220 size springs, cut the stock springs off, add the bigger trap size springs, and that adds a lot of speed and power to that little trap. When it hits otter, it closes like that instantly. He's done. A lot of power, a lot of speed. You can up the size of the springs for a small trap, and it adds, like I said, speed and power. It can take out bigger game with a smaller trap. It has a lot of speed, so you're not going to miss an otter like that. That's a good idea too. That's insane. It should be that way for otter, but we don't have bobcats. Yeah. That's the thing to keep in mind. You buy a 160, right? 150, I think it is, 5x5. Cut the springs off. You want a lot of power. Buy two Belial 220 springs, right? They have the good safeties. So whether it's a Duke or not, you put the good springs on there and put Belial springs, right? Close them, and you got a lot of power, really good safeties, and it's a lethal trap and very fast. That's why you'd like to pimp out a trap to take out otter with a smaller trap. You can pimp the heck out of them like that. And you can buy the Belial springs at like Schmidt Enterprises, I think they call it. That's a good way to pimp out a trap for sure. Now, I've heard of people doing it. That you got to be careful you don't add too powerful springs because you don't want to damage the trap, right? So I would go like a 160 size spring, which I think on the Belial's 160 and 220 springs are similar. So I'll just get the 220 springs, which you're beefing them up with so much power that it's a lot more lethal trap, basically. People would do that with the 330s if they had a bigger trap. They make bigger traps like the 440s, but they have just 330 springs on, just a bigger trap. They don't really make a super powerful trap spring besides like the MB1216s and stuff like that, which they don't make spare springs for. So it's a way to speed up your trap and make it more powerful so it has better killing capability. Now, that being said, The 220 springs on there are not so hard.
Smells over here.
I don't know. The 220 springs are not so powerful that you can't set them, right? Like if you put something bigger than a 330 springs on a 330, it would be very hard to set. 220 springs are easy enough to set on a 150 that you can do it by hand if you ever go to the hands or setters. That's the way I'd go with that. If that makes sense. That's like turning a 150 into a 220 trap. That's something you can do. I'm sorry I was rambling on, but that's 220 springs on 150. You got the power of a 220, which is a good otter trap. I think it would be a minimum size otter trap. Because of the power of the springs, they minimize it to 220s and bigger. But if you have to fit them in a 5x5, those 220 springs have enough killing power to kill an otter in a 5x5 trap. If that makes sense. That's what I would do. That's like really getting MacGyver-y and into the trap stuff. That's like really deep diving into it.
Jesus Christ.
I don't stink. Maybe it's because I ate garlic. I don't know, there's something in the fridge. When I opened the fridge, I had a smell to it. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'd do with the 150 size if you're restricted to smaller traps. Which a 5x5 is pretty much a 120. Though I saw a guy catch a 35-pound beaver in a 120. So, it's possible. What's your laws in Ohio on half submerged or, well, like in Oregon, you just have to have the jaws in the water to be illegal? They just have to be under like that much. Or they have to be touching the water, right? So what's the laws on your traps on water's edge? What size traps? Is that same 5x5? Then if that is, then you got to beef up the springs on 150. If not, I'll just use a bigger trap. That's just my opinion. He's from 10 minutes from me. That made that video. Yeah. Yeah, otters, man. People think they're, for their size, they're very tough. But it's a matter of having the power, and I think the minimal spring power I put on there is a 220, especially for a small trap like that. Yeah. But could put a 160 triggers on there. That would work too. I think the ideal water's edge trap, for at least for us, because we can use 220s on land, is a 220. If you want it, you can get away with 280. That's good. 330. That's good, right? But in Oregon, if you put a 280 on water's edge and you get caught, you can move it legally. And it ends up on dry land, you can move it legally, right? If you put 330 on water's edge and it ends up on land and you move it and you get caught, you get a ticket, which is interesting. But first of all, they got to check it for that to happen. And a lot of times they can't go on private property without reasonable suspicion or whatever, or homeowner's permission. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any advice do you have any questions, or do you need advice?
Advice to share.
Advice to share? You want me to share something with you?
They share with you. Share with other people.
They can hear you.
Hi.
Yeah, it's like that's the way it's like really spiffing up the trap for speed and power. I stink like garlic. Well, I just ate like a half cup of garlic in my food.
Okay, quiet.
Yeah, I gotta take a shower because I smell like garlic.
Thanks.
Garlic's good for you. I figured that much. Last time I did that, it smelled like garlic too. Yeah, so that's kind of, I'm just curious what other subjects you guys want to talk about. He's from 2 minutes from me. video. I made that video. Yeah. Nice. Want to see Pop here? Look, is that Dad? Or is it Chris? Is that Dad or?
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah, it's Is there any questions? I know I'm holding on to one viewer. Curious if they have any questions for anything. Fishing,
I need to go
outdoors
watch the
related.
Super Bowl.
Or are you probably watching the Super Bowl, huh? Super Bowl's right now. You should be watching Super Bowl. You should be watching me. What are you talking about? No, just kidding. Yeah. What do you guys think the final score of the Super Bowl is going to be?
Sometimes it's just time to let it go. Hang on.
All right, I'm going to go. Oh, wait, hold on. How many different how many different sizes does the Conibear trap come in? Okay, so it comes in a 120 and a 110. A 110 is a 4.5 inch trap with a single spring. A 120 is a 4.5 inch trap with 2 springs. A 150 is a 5x5 trap, right? 2 springs. A 160 is a 6x6, 2 springs.
Those are all Conibears?
Yeah, all Conibears. The 220 is a 7x7, 2 springs, right? And the 280 is an 8x8, 2 springs. 330 is a 10x10, or Duke is a cheaper trap, it's 10x9, is a 330. A 440 is 10 inches or bigger, right? Usually 12 inches around, somewhere's in there. 550 is 12x16, and a 660 is 10x22 across.
There's about 10.
There's about 10, but then you got to go into the 55 size and the 44 size, which is a 2.5 and a 3.5 inch trap, which those are for like squirrels, stuff like that. So there's about 11 or 12 different sizes. And then you can get into like the 160s with single springs, but the generic sizes are what I just told you. There's about 11 or 12 different sizes. But when it gets to like the 550, there's like one trap. There's one made. That's 12x16. In the 660s, that's just one trap. They don't have multiple brands. 330s, there's a bunch. And 440s, like there's a Savage Oak Canadian brand. There's the RBG 12 inch. A bunch of other stuff.
Just for sizes.
But that's just basic size stuff. Yeah, so there's about, like I said, 11 or 12 different ones. But there's, like even Russia has their own size, their own Conibear designs. One guy I follow, he has his own Conibear designs, his own leg hold designs. It's really fascinating looking at that stuff. Because they can't necessarily import our stuff because what's going on right now in Ukraine. So they can't get our stuff. They just kind of have their own version, which is fun to watch. And like they have very similar species to us. They have like, believe it or not, they have raccoons over there, right? They have some other different animals that are similar looking that I've seen the guy post, which is interesting. Which that's on Instagram. And I don't always understand what he's saying, right? Because it's in Russian, but like the pictures kind of are self-explanatory. There's a few where it comes out with certain traps. They have like a horseshoe-like base, a round base. Then the trap comes up off that, so it can sit on the ground flat. And there's also the regular, like, will just come up, right? There's different designs. All right. No more questions? I'm going to get out of here, guys. All right. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.